Hey there, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about something important, how my life changed after I quit everything. And I mean the real truth nobody ever tells you. Most people talk about addiction like it's just chaos, but they never talk about what happens after you quit. They don't mention the fear, the withdrawal, the crushing, panic, or the complete collapse of your identity. But they also don't talk about the insane transformation that happens when you finally leave it all behind. Today I'm telling you the real story of my recovery. Not the polished Instagram version, not the sugar-coated one. The raw version, the one that almost broke me before it rebuilt me from the ground up. This is the story of how quitting drugs and alcohol didn't just save my life. It gave me a life I never, ever thought I could have. The first few days were absolute hell. Everyone talks about physical withdrawal, but nobody can truly prepare you for the mental hurricane that hits you. I'm talking about constant panic attacks, my body shaking uncontrollably, and nights staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. Intrusive thoughts would just bombard my mind, along with emotional flashbacks that felt as real as the day they happened. There was this bone-deep fear that felt like I was dying, and then this sudden, deafening silence when the drugs and alcohol were gone. My body had no idea how to function without chemicals. My brain didn't know how to feel a single emotion without numbing it first. I wasn't healing in those first days. I was meeting myself for the very first time, and honestly, I hated what I saw. I was a stranger in my own skin, raw and exposed. And the person staring back at me was someone I didn't recognize or want to be. That was the terrifying beginning. When the substances disappeared, everything I'd been running from 4 years came roaring back at full volume. It was like a dam had burst. My panic disorder, which I'd been suppressing with substances, went completely haywire. My chest felt like it was being crushed by an invisible weight every single day. I couldn't leave my house. At times, I couldn't even breathe properly, gasping for air and convinced I was having a heart attack. For months, I thought I was dying every single day. People always say, "Oh, it gets easier." Let me tell you, they're lying. It gets so much worse before it gets better. Quitting didn't magically calm my anxiety. It ripped the lid off the box where I'd been hiding it for years. It exposed the raw, terrified core I'd been running from. And that intense, unfiltered anxiety nearly broke me. It was a battle for my sanity every single minute of every single day. And then there's the part of early recovery that almost no one talks about, the profound, soul-crushing loneliness. When you finally quit, the world just keeps moving on, but you feel completely left behind. Stuck in a bubble, you lose friends, you lose the identity you built around partying and using. You lose the version of yourself you used to pretend to be. I had to face a painful truth. Most of the people I had surrounded myself with weren't my friends. They were my drinking partners, my party partners, my escape partners. Our entire connection was based on a shared habit, not genuine care. Sobriety reveals what addiction was. Hiding all along, and that loneliness, it absolutely crushed me. But in a strange way, it also saved me. Because once I was truly alone, it forced me to stop looking for escapes and start the slow, hard work of rebuilding myself from the rubble. The turning point wasn't some dramatic Hollywood movie moment. There was no big revelation under a sunset. It was just a quiet morning like any other. I woke up feeling the same way I always did, anxious, exhausted, and completely drained of life. I just lay there and asked myself a simple question. Do I want to feel like this for the rest of my life? And for the first time, something deep inside me whispered a clear and definite answer. No, that was it. That was the decision. It was a choice that took me years to fully understand. My goal wasn't just going to be about not using anymore. That felt like a negative, like I was constantly fighting something. Instead, my focus shifted. I was going to focus on becoming someone who didn't need to use in the first place. I was going to build a life so full, so stable, and so meaningful that the thought of escaping it would seem absurd. And that single shift in perspective changed absolutely everything. Recovery is not a straight line. It's messy. It's painful. It can be incredibly boring and frustrating, but it is so powerful. Here's what actually changed my life, the real tools. First, therapy and medication. This isn't weakness. It's a survival tool. My brain was chemically unbalanced, and it needed stability to even begin healing. Second, nervous system healing. Things like breathwork, grounding techniques, and sticking to a simple routine. These were the things that literally saved me from the daily panic attacks. Third, discipline over motivation. I couldn't wait to feel motivated. I built small daily habits that slowly rebuilt my identity and self-worth. Fourth, I had to face my fears head-on. That meant socializing sober, going back to work sober, feeling every single raw emotion, good or bad, without a chemical shield. And fifth, the hardest part of all, forgiving myself. I had to stop punishing myself for the past, for the mistakes I made, for the person I used to be. And slowly, painfully slowly, I started to feel something I thought I'd lost forever: hope. Now, here's the part of the story that most people find hard to believe. After I quit everything, my life didn't just get a little better, it became completely unrecognizable. I rebuilt everything from the ground up. I became mentally stable. I found love and became a husband. I became a father, something I never thought I was capable of. I built a career I'm proud of. I became financially stable. But more than all that, I found peace. I found a purpose. For the first time, I found myself. I went from a life of daily panic attacks and a crippling addiction to a life that my past self would have thought was absolutely impossible. The drugs didn't save me. Sobriety did. The substances never gave me real confidence. Healing did. Quitting didn't end my life, it was the very beginning of it. If you're watching this and you're still using because you're scared to quit, please listen to me. The fear you feel right now, that terror of the unknown, is temporary. But the life that is waiting for you on the other side is permanent. Your story does not end where you break. It begins where you decide to heal. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos on anxiety, addiction recovery, trauma, and how to rebuild your life. And if you're ready to take the first step, you can download a free workbook I made at freefromaddiction.net. It might just be the start you need. See you next time.